My name is Roberto Bellini.
And I'm the former president and CEO of BELLUS Health.
When I first started in the biotech industry, I was actually launched by my dad, Dr. Francesco Bellini. So I've essentially worked with him for more than 20 years. Working with him has all the benefits of working with someone that trusted me and working with someone that was a genius in this field, but was also had all the overlays of the difficulties and emotional components of working with someone that was your dad at the same time. When I transitioned from being in business development to becoming the CEO at BELLUS, I knew that I was going to be compared to Dr. B. And I realized right away that I really just had to be myself.
Drug development is a tough business, and Roberto embodies the fighting spirit that every entrepreneur needs to have to be successful.
Roberto is a fearless leader in the sense that he is very transparent with stakeholders. He also is extremely good at reading what's going on with the people around him.
Roberto distinguishes himself as an excellent communicator with investors and analysts. He doesn't spin things or sugarcoat them, and that's really important for building credibility.
Roberto is a very honest guy, and in this business you have to be honest if you wanted to succeed.
Back in 2016, Kiakta was the only really asset that we had. It was a phase 3 asset. It was fully funded, it was partnered. A lot of hopes were riding on that asset, and when it read out negatively, obviously, we were all devastated. It was a time for us to either do something big, pivot and transform, or close up shop. I mean, all options were at the table at this time. We visited the folks at Neomed. The very last program that they presented to us was this small molecule for the treatment of chronic cough.
We all knew right then and there that this was an incredible project that we wanted to work on.
He pivoted the entire company, and he negotiated a great deal in acquiring Camlipixant.
That's where the whole thing started with Camlipixant, and it was a transformational moment.
So refractory chronic cough is a difficult disorder for patients, for physicians, and for families.
It causes side effects such as chest pain, abdominal pain, hernias. It can affect their voice. They can cough so much that they feel sick, and some patients even have problems with blacking out due to coughing.
These patients spend years usually getting to a diagnosis, getting to a proper physician specialist who understands refractory chronic cough. And then when they get there are no approved treatments.
Camlipixant works at the level of the sensory neurons in the upper airway, and it particularly helps hypersensitized chronic cough patients to normalize the sensitivity of their upper airway. By taking Camlipixant, what we've seen in the clinical trials is that we can significantly decrease this cough, on average over 50%.
BELLUS was at a crossroads. They had a preclinical asset with a very exciting profile. It needed the money to test the hypothesis in the clinic, and OrbiMed played a role in leading a financing that ultimately allowed the company to test that hypothesis in patients.
Going public via NASDAQ was helpful in the sense of, one, you open up liquidity a bit because NASDAQ is a heavily traded market, and so liquidity is higher here than most markets around the world. The second thing is there's many healthcare dedicated investors who can't invest outside of US markets.
Waiting for the first trial results from Camlipixant was a nail biter. This put more pressure on us.
So in 2020, we completed our first phase 2 for Camlipixant, and unfortunately it read out negatively to all our surprise. We fully expected that trial to be positive. We weren't sure what the future of the program would be at that point.
If we can at least go out saying we understand why we have this result and what it means we need to do next, that would be the best we could do.
A subgroup analysis of the patients with the worst cough, which showed very clear treatment effects. And I think that was all handled extremely well by Roberto.
Understanding when to persevere was an extremely important part of what we did at BELLUS.
It speaks to Roberto's credibility that he was able to raise capital in the wake of a clinical failure, and that the stock, appreciated from there. People started to buy in and believe that despite the failure, the molecule, still had a good chance of success in the next trial.
So the second phase 2 achieved the success that the first trial should have achieved, and that was a pivotal moment for the company. We did not have the taste side effects that's one of our competitors at the time, Merck, had, and therefore we viewed this as a significant competitive advantage.
The trial was a home run. Those data are what prompted us to invest immediately in the minutes and hours after the data was released. That phase 2b trial showed that the drug could be best in class.
We built relationships with a number of big pharmas over time to educate them about the chronic cough space and to educate them about Camlipixant. And ultimately, that led to the acquisition of BELLUS by GSK.
GSK, I believe, is on record saying they think it could be $2.5 billion peak sales for the drug.
BELLUS is an incredible story because of the journey that it's taken. We will look back on this story as an industry with great admiration and ultimately inspiration.
Roberto, what you are doing is great. Continue to do it. Always be very honest. Be creative. And always look at the future. Having a son like this, you feel full inside yourself.